Okay, hey guys, this is Betamax Man here. So, this Zenith branded Sony SL2500 with the 711D chassis, all we're going to do is service it because this thing works. There's nothing wrong with it, you know. We're going to do a full service on it. And I'll show you how to service the 711D chassis, because I've done the 711B and I've done the 710, but I've never done the 711D. So that's what we'll service. So as you can see, this one works. It's got a tape remainder on there, and it senses and detects whether or not where the tape is at, and so we'll show you the mechanism here. So we'll just eject it. This mechanism I've showed on other videos, but this is the circuit board that controls the tape counter and the remote. It also does, over on this area, it controls the motor drive. So, and the last video we did on the Zenith, we didn't lift the board up so you could see, but basically this motor is what has a pulley and a belt on it, and that wraps the tape around the drum. So we'll show you here what it looks like. So as you can see, this is the mechanism. Now this one has a direct drive on each reel. Each reel has a direct drive motor for the supply and the takeout, and they each have their own motor. So that's really cool. So basically what we're going to do to this machine today is we're just going to service it. We're going to clean it up. We're going to try to see if I can find a new loading belt for this, because the only belt in the SL2500 and the SL there was the 2500, the 2700, and the portable 2000 units for the United States. All used only one belt, and that was the belt here on the top that threads the tape around the drum. That is the only belt in these beta machines for the 711. The 711B is all direct drive. There is no belts. They don't. But the 711B3 uses, well, they use the 711B and the 711B3. They use a tooth belt. So they actually do have belts, but it's a tooth belt. And this is the 711D. Actually uses a real belt. So that's the story on that. Because a lot of people think that these beta machines, that the reason why they don't work is because they got bad belts. No, that's not true. Because, like I said, they have a tooth belt, that's it, and direct drive motors. This one doesn't have a tooth belt. It does have one regular belt. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to unplug it, and I'm going to clean. I've got to clean the head drum. And I've got to clean the tape path. We've got to clean the capstan. I'm going to change out this belt with a new one We're going to put a brand new belt on there. Even though the belt is working, you can see it's loose. See how loose that is. I mean, it's not really springing. Well, it's springing back, but it's just not a very good belt. It's very worn, and we need to just change it out with a new one. I may have to order one because I don't know if I have one or not. I might have to order one in. But that is all we have to do to this particular one. I was kind of hoping that this one was broken so that I could show you how to repair it, but it wasn't broken. So, you know, yes, I could create a fault and let you guys think on what it might be, but well, we're not going to do that on this one. So, this mechanism is very, very cool. So this is a very similar situation as to the 711A. Now, the 711A was used in the SLHF 750, and the UK's version of the 750 was a 950, which was the PAL machine. The 950 is PAL. 750 is NTSC. So, you know, but anyway, so we're going to get this thing serviced. But yeah, the 711A was in the 750 and the 950, and it was also in the 1000D. So the 1000D, which was a Japanese. Basically it was very close to the 750, but it was for the 1000D was the Japan one, and it did have some digital effects. So let's get started on this. I'm just going to clean the drum, the tape path, then we're going to go on the bottom side and we'll clean and lubricate the spindles and stuff. So we'll get that going. Okay, so we've got the drum clean. As you can see, I've also took this off and cleaned it, put it back on. Okay, so we got the bottom side here. Took the bracket off. This bracket goes on just like that. So when that bracket goes on like that, that way I have to take that off because I want to get to the capstan. We're going to pull this out and clean it. This particular chassis is a little bit more involved as far as doing a service on it. So here is your take up and supply reels, and they both have direct drive motors. Now we're going to clean the capstan. You can see the capstan, you see that black line on there? That's oxide from tape. The tape sheds oxide, especially those shitty Scotch tapes. So I'm going to go ahead and take our screwdriver and take the screws. So the screws that you'll need to remove are 5 screws. So we'll remove this one, that one, that one, and that one, and then this thing will lift right off, and then I'll show you how to service it. So let's get this off and then we'll take a look. Okay, so this should just lift straight up. Just like that. Okay, So what I'm going to do is clean the capstan, and then we'll want to take the reels. We just lift up on them. They're magnetized, so they just lift straight off like that. As you can see what it looks like when you take them off. So I'm not quite ready to take them off yet, so I'm going to put it back on. And one thing you want to make sure is that when you're doing a service on these, make sure that you don't, this has got a brake system as well, so, but make sure that when you put them back on that they don't grind or anything. Make sure they're freely spinning when you spin them. Just like that. But we're going to do a service on them, but I just want to clean the capstan motor, so we'll just put that there so we can kind of see what I'm going to do. But I'm going to use paper towel, and I'm going to soak that towel in. This is the towel I'm going to use. We're going to soak it in the alcohol, and then we're just going to clean the post. So just clean the post. You can just clean the post. Just going to put a little bit there. We're just going to basically spin so that we get the capstan nice and clean. And as you can see, the dirt that's on there, and there's quite quite a lot of nastiness that came off of there. So a lot of nastiness that came off, so we're going to do it again on a cleaner side, and we'll do that again because I want to make sure that that capstan is nice and clean. You can go different directions as well. So, and just repeat this process until it comes nice and clean. There we go. So, and we'll go ahead and slide it and put it back in. So, okay. So it's nice and clean. And so now we could just simply drop it back into place. And make sure it spins nice and free. Just like that. Now what we'll do, take our bracket here and put our bracket right back on. So there's a little tiny small screw for the bracket to put the bracket back on. Get our bracket on. Let's get our bracket back into place here. And that'll just go into place, and then go ahead and spin your capstan. Make sure that you got nice and spins nice and free. Okay, next thing that we will do is take our, see, this has got a braking system, So you pull that back and they'll spin free. Oh no, excuse me. Push it up. Push it up and it spins free. Pulling it down applies the brakes. It's been a while since I've done a service on the 711D chassis. So you push them up and then they'll spin super free. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll just spin these and then we'll put the brake on and see how good it does, and it does very well. So the only thing we're going to do is pull the thing off here, and then what we'll do is clean the, put this where it's, you know, safe. So I'm going to put it down here where it's safe, and then what I'm going to do is take another clean piece of paper towel, get some alcohol, and we'll do the same thing that we did with the capstan motor. Same kind of procedure. So we're gonna paper towel, soak the paper towel in some isopropyl alcohol, also known as rubbing alcohol. It used to be called rubbing alcohol. Now they're calling it something different. So, but we're just gonna do a little bit of cleaning. As you can see, there's some, well, actually not much came off there. There's a little brown. That brown is the old lubricant, the old oil. These require 3-in-1 oil. You need to get some 3-in-1 oil. If you don't have it, then buy some. Do not use WD-40 on these. You do not use WD-40 in VCRs at all. Okay? I don't care if you're in a pinch or not. Do not use WD. You need to use 3-in-1. Okay? That's the proper stuff to use. So that is nice and clean now. So what I'm going to do now is get my 3-in-1 oil, and we're going to put just a little bit on. I'm going to pour a little bit on a Q-tip, and I'm going to use my Q-tip to spread it. And we're going to put a little oil on the post here. This is the stuff you need right here. Good old 3-in-1 oil. Like I said, I'm going to take a Q-tip. I'm going to put a little bit onto a Q-tip. Now you can do a drop, but you risk putting too much on by putting a drop on it. So what I'm going to do is just simply put it on to the, put the oil on the Q-tip. So we've got it on there. So now we'll just put a little bit on to the post, onto the shaft post here. It's called a post, is what I'm calling it. So as you can see, we now have some fresh, clean lubricant. Yeah. Now what we can do is take the other side off as well. So I'm gonna pull the, let's clean my hands here with some alcohol. So now we got that one is into place, so nice and clean and oiled. So now we're gonna do the same thing to this one. And this one actually does seem to have all oopsies. Oh shit. I gotta go find the spring. And because the spring went flying, I think I might have lost the spring, so I may have to go now and rob a spring out of another parts deck. Luckily I found the spring, so the spring is right over there. So now we'll just do the same procedure to this post as we did to the other one. Another thing that I'll mention that you want to do is put a little bit of contact cleaner on the solenoid switch. Okay, so let's get the thing all cleaned up here. The problem with, you know, sometimes you're pulling those parts apart, man, that spring went flying, and I just so happened to see where it went. It went underneath inside the machine there, so it went through the hole and landed on the wooden tray that I'm working on. So, okay, so now we're just gonna clean the post there. Not much coming off, so we'll just do the old lubricant. I'm just gonna clean the coils here with some alcohol. Just the tips, the tops of the coils, because your fingers have natural oil on them, and it can get the coils dirty. So I just like to do that. There we go, and we'll put a little bit of the oil onto the Q-tip again, because it's gonna really help. So let's give a little oil on the Q-tip. 3-in-1 oil is the only thing that you should use. Like I said, do not use WD-40. WD-40 is not for fixing VCRs. Just so you know that, because WD is not the proper type and is not the proper oil or lubricant to be using. Okay, so there we go. Got that all nice and done. So now we're just going to put the coil, the reels back on, and call it good. And we're gonna get my little brush, because you see my brush, I can put a little bit of alcohol on my brush and do a little cleaning of the coils and of the dust off of the circuit board without damaging, because you can actually damage circuit board by trying to use a paper towel or something. You know, you don't want anything to catch on the leads and stuff. You just be careful when you're cleaning circuit boards that you avoid damaging the components that are soldered onto the board. Even with a brush, you can still do that. So just be careful when you're cleaning them. There are two sensors that we're going to clean as well. Just kind of cleaning the circuit board up a little bit. So to clean, what we'll want to do is clean the sensors. There's a sensor there that detects the rotation of the reel. So, and that's all we're going to do. So we'll get a Q-tip, we'll get it wet with alcohol. And now we'll just take our Q-tip and we'll just clean the sensor that detects the rotation of the reels. And you know, this direct drive motor system did cause some issues. Sometimes you would get tape slack, and then the spool would speed up to try to catch up with the tape, and then it would put it into a... It wasn't a very well thought out design. It was also an expensive design, and Sony kind of got away from this design. They only had this particular 711D chassis was only used on a handful of machines, such as the 2500, which is what this is, the 2700, and the portable 2000, the portable SL 2000, not to be mistaken with the SLHF 2000. The SL 2000 were the portable units. So, okay. So we got that done. Now we can put everything back together. Now, this is a little bearing here that goes back on this side. We'll find out why the bearing's not going on. Come on. Oh, maybe I got it in the wrong way, huh? There we go. Okay. And then we'll put the spring back on. The spring just goes down over it just like that. And then there's a little plastic piece that goes on it. Because this is what helps keep the spring. See, this gives the tension. When the reel goes on, it's under tension. So, okay. So, what I'm going to do is take my brush, clean the dust off of the... I'm just going to clean the dust off here with my brush and get the top of it clean here. There's so much dust that this machine has been sitting somewhere. Until it comes clean just like that. So now we can just simply take it and simply put it back down into place. Just like that. And we just want to check to make sure it spins nice and free, just like that. Alright. So now what we'll do is do the other side. And let's get the other side on. And then we're going to simply just put it back. See, what happened is the bearing and the spring didn't come out of this side, but it came out of the other side, and I don't know why that happened, but it did. So let's get our brush. We're just gonna take our brush here. simply give it a good cleaning, get the dust off. I don't want dirt or dust on my parts, so because this is gonna be clean, it's gonna be gone through. Just push up and that will release it. Just make sure that they, you know, spin nice and freely. So this applies the brakes. So if this was spinning, and it stops it. So this one is just free spinning, whether the brakes are on or not. Because this is the, I believe it's the take-up reel. This one's the supply. So we'll go ahead now and take our mechanism and put it back in place. See, it's like that. It just drops down into place just like that. So I had to take it back apart because you remember that I put this piece on top. It's supposed to go on the bottom. That's why this thing was, because it would play for a second or two and then it would stop. Yeah, that's why, because it's supposed to be on the bottom, not the very top. So we'll now just go ahead and put this all back together and then we'll see. And then that should allow the machine to start working again. So, no big deal. So it's just a simple mistake that anybody can do. And now my spring just stuck to there. Okay. Alright. There we go. Okay, so it should work now. What was happening is that I had the part in the wrong spot, and it was, see that plastic piece is there as a spacer. So if that's not there, or it's not in the right spot, it's not going to work, because that reel can't when it's like that. So the reel's not going to spin or anything. It's not going to have any proper tension, because that spring is under tension, and so it's kind of hard to explain, but that's why. Alright, let's see if it'll play. It should. Yeah, there it goes. It's going to take a little while to detect if it's at the beginning or, and yep, there we go. So basically this thing is so cool because it has this tape remainder on there, and it also has audio dub as well, but it'll tell you how far along your tape, you know, is in. And so we could put that on still. See, what if we hit pause? We could probably do this is a swing search. I'm not sure how the swing search works on this. Yeah, I have to read the manual, but I don't remember how swing search works on this. Oh, wait a minute here. There, video action. There we go. Now it's going. Now it's going. And then we can go all the way to normal. ×2. Back to ×1. We can go to slow-mo, where it's going frame by frame. Go back to still. We can hit. I think we can, yeah, we can go that way too. You can go in reverse as well. So if we just hit play, we'll turn that on. See, if we turn that on, that'll allow it to do the search, the swing search. Because this it has what's called swing search. Okay, I don't know if you caught the problem that I had a few hours ago. I took quite a long break from working on this because sometimes it's better to take a break on something if something breaks, because you got to think about what it could be. But it is playing beautifully. Got forward, got reverse, but I can hear that click, 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 click. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this machine. The bearing had basically fallen out, and I had to put the bearing back into the motor that controls the magnet, that actual physical magnet, the motor that you've seen me holding. Actually, the bearing, that's what we were seeing, and the bearing had come out of it and was causing issues. Also, what I did was took some alcohol and I cleaned the magnet, and that allowed me to get this thing working again. I am gonna keep a close eye on it for a while. I'm gonna play a couple of movies on it because I want to make sure that this thing is working. I might have to swap out the Hall effect device. Actually, what I could do is just swap out the whole mechanism. I can unplug it and swap it out with another one that's good. But sometimes those Hall effect devices, they go bad, and or sometimes the bearing is shot and they'll stop playing tapes, you know. So I'm gonna play a couple movies in this thing, and but it's got a good picture now, and this is a really worn out tape. Obviously it's, you know, every once in a while it'll, you know, have trouble tracking, but that's the tape, not the machine. Because this tape does that in every beta machine I put this tape in. It'll track fine for a while, and then it'll start having issues. But right now the tape's playing okay. It's not playing too bad, but you can see a lot of dropouts and stuff that happening in the bottom. That's the tape. So anyway, I'm gonna put a couple of movies in there. I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna go pick out a movie, that I want to watch and on it, and that's what I'm going to do.